Hi, and welcome back to the Yards Per Fantasy YouTube channel. I'm Nick Spanola, and today I want to go over new Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Rondale Moore and his overall fantasy outlook for the 2021 NFL season, as well as if the situation he's inheriting down in Arizona is a nice, stable environment for him going forward. Now, given his size and his elite and rare athleticism and skill set, the team that drafted Moore was probably going to play a big role in his overall fantasy outlook going forward, especially in his rookie season. So, when Arizona selected him with the 49th pick in the second round of this past draft, I was really intrigued to see if they had a role in place for him right away, or if there were any variables down there in Arizona that provided a good fit. Here we have a cool heat map made by Mike Renner of PFF, and it shows all the routes that Rondale Moore ran throughout his 3 seasons at Purdue. And it's pretty self-explanatory if you understand him as a player, but as you can see here with the red being the hot zones, a lot of his production, a lot of his routes came from stuff underneath, even behind the line of scrimmage. Big yards after the catch guy, big play guy, and essentially a gadget player to a certain extent coming into the NFL. And I was really interested to see how that would fit down there in Arizona if he was a nice complement to the offense. One of my first thoughts after Arizona selected Moore in the draft was immediately of that Cliff Kingsbury air raid offense. How much of an impact that was going to have on Rondale Moore and his given skill set, how he fit into it specifically. Now, of course, one of the tenets of an air raid offense is 10 personnel packages, and essentially that means that there's 4 wide receivers on the field for any given play. And so it makes sense that the Arizona Cardinals dominated 10 personnel usage over league average last season at a 20% clip. And also makes sense that they're targeting wide receivers more than other teams across the league. It was interesting when you looked at Kyler Murray's game last season. Of course, he's a guy who can scramble, get out of the pocket, and make plays on his own. He threw 95 passes behind the line of scrimmage, which was tied 4th most in the NFL last year. Threw screen passes on 75 total dropbacks, also 4th most in the NFL last year. Over 38% of Rondale Moore's receptions while at Purdue came from screen passes. When you're looking at the specific situation that a player is going to inherit, in this instance, Rondale Moore going to the Cardinals, it's letting me a lot of opportunities for a guy like him to get onto the field and really play a role right away that fits into some of the trends and skill sets of Kyler Murray and everything that's going on in that Arizona offense. More specifically, where he's going to be on the field and how consistently he's going to be out there, because for frequent and stable fantasy production, that's obviously one of the most important tenets. But how he complements the other receivers in that offense is not only going to be important for them and from a football perspective, but also important from a fantasy perspective, and understanding that not all targets are created equal. Throughout his time at Purdue, almost 90% of Rondale Moore's reps came through the slot, which, if you're evaluating NFL draft prospects in general, it's a little noisy of a variable, and you have to take a lot of things into consideration when you're evaluating some of their production. Given his size and some of those aspects previously discussed, Rondale Moore's NFL career will probably live or die through the slot, which isn't a bad thing at all. If you're able to take advantage of something like a lack of press coverage, mismatches on the defense, or your offense or the alignment itself can naturally create some separation, a receiver like Rondale Moore, who has insane burst and athleticism off the line of scrimmage, as well as being a guy who can create separation on his own, is going to be provided with some of the best opportunities to succeed at the NFL level, given some of those limitations coming in. So if that's able to come into fruition, the only question is how frequently could he be out there? And so the next thing I wanted to look at was the slot situation going down in Arizona for the 2021 season. Looking at the slot target leaders for the Cardinals last season, it's pretty interesting to read some of these names. I was pretty surprised. Leading the entire team was Larry Fitzgerald, future Hall of Famer, who's obviously teetering on coming back to the NFL next season, 62 total. And second is Andy Isabella, a receiver who hasn't seen consistent playing time at the NFL level. And the 3rd and 4th most targets belong to a running back and tight end, Chase Edmonds with 23, and Dan Arnold, who recently left in free agency with 16 total. Now, if you're Rondale Moore, or you own him in Dynasty already, you're smiling from ear to ear after looking at that list, because he's going to have a lot of opportunities to play right away. Of course, he's going to be competing for targets with a guy like DeAndre Hopkins or Christian Kirk, who moves around a little bit, but overall, he's going to get more playing time than people initially thought. And so, because of that, I think that Rondale Moore has a pretty decent fantasy outlook, at least right away, going into the Arizona offense. You draft him in the 2nd round there. You have an idea or a plan in place of how you're going to implement him into your system. And he's everything that Arizona has lacked. So because of that, I really think that they're going to feed him. And I really do like that fit initially after looking at some of those numbers. And I hope you do too. So really appreciate it, guys. It was a really quick video on Rondale Moore. If you have any other suggestions for some players that you're interested in from an analytical perspective, feel free to let us know. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content, and hope you have a great rest of your week.